Hi, everyone. Welcome to MGS Coaching Football, and thank you for watching my channel. I do really appreciate it. Today, in this presentation, I'd like to talk to you about one of our double options that's part of our triple option package, including gun triple. Okay, and it's simply called 28-29 double. It is a double option. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is go through the key terms to help you better understand what our 28-29 double option is. And then over here, I'm going to diagram it for you and give you some tips that we would utilize to take advantage of the defense, especially if we've seen it on film and we know what's coming, or it's a game adjustment that can give you, the numbers advantage or give you better angles. Okay, because I'm going to have this diagram in the middle of the field. Okay. So the first key term is 28-29 double itself. Okay, and what that means is a flash fake to the B back. So it looks like our inside veer. Okay, the digit 2 tells the B back and the quarterback, tells everybody, but specifically them, that it's a flash fake. You're going to run the same inside veer track that you would on our 12-13 veer. But you're not getting the football. You're not an option. But the defense doesn't know that. Okay? So how that affects the B back is the B back then blocks number 1. So in order for this to be effective, what the defense has to be doing is trying to cancel out the B back all the time by crashing their, in this case, defensive end, but whoever the number 1 handoff key is, that person is crashing down on the B back every single time. If they're not doing that, well, you just keep running, right? Inside veer and give it to the B back. Okay, so that's part of the equation. All righty. So then this is the presentation is versus what we call a 4-3 over. So what does that mean? Number 2, 4-3 over to us is it's a loaded box. Okay. In this case, there's 2 high safeties. So, and I'll go over that when I get to the diagram, but against our 2x2 Detroit, our base formation, you can have 2 high safeties and a loaded box. Detroit, this 2x2 kind of breaks all the rules, okay, in that regard. So it's a loaded box with 2 high, and for us, what makes it over, the 3 techniques on our right. Okay, the 3 techniques on our right side in a balanced formation. To us, that means it's an over front. Okay, so then the number 3, and this is the part we like the most, and pun intended. Okay, perimeter options. Okay, it's called double, but we empower our players, okay, using codes, which I'm not going to go through our codes, right, for the obvious reason. We empower our players as to who they're going to block, and then they in a code they tell the quarterback who he's reading. Okay, so the options that we have on the perimeter, remembering that the B back's blocking number 1, right? A, we can pitch off a number 2. B, we can pitch off number 3. C, we can pitch off the NDB, right? The near defensive back. So in this diagram, the NDB is going to be the strong corner. I'm going to diagram it for you only to the 3 technique because number 4, this is good to the 3 technique and it's good to the 1 and the 5. Okay? Assuming that the angles are roughly the same, numbers, again, roughly the same, even though by design, this is 6-5, unless the mic is head up on the center, which depending on who we play, the mic is head up on the center in the 4-3 over, or they're shaded to the 3 technique, right? So we see both. So what I will now do as well is this is the NDB. Okay. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take care of the blocking scheme that we would utilize. Again, we're only going to run here, so this would be 28 double. Okay, I'm only going to diagram it to the 3. Technically, a little bit harder than going to the 1 or the 5. Okay, but in this, we're going to say that this one is really crashing down hard. Okay, I'm going to diagram the blocking for the 5 inside linemen, how they block the crease, what the backside wide receiver would do. Okay, the block of the track and the block of the B back on number 1, because number 1 will stay the same. And then from there, I will, okay, here's letter A. We'll go through the A scheme first, pitch off a 2, then the B scheme, pitch off a 3, then the C scheme, pitch off the NDB. Okay? So how we would do this, and I'll start here with the backside wide receiver. We always have a flash. That's our gift. Okay? And then if he doesn't get it, he sees that the quarterback is executing the option, and he works across the field trying to cut off the near safety. Okay, so there it is. Starting from the backside, he will protect the B gap, no run throughs. He's going to work here to scoop up to the mic. They're going to double team that 3 technique, trying to create a little bit of movement. If they can get movement here, that will move the B gap track and it will pull the number 1 read key. Again, we call this because he's crashing hard, that will pull him away from the perimeter. Okay, so that's what we call, he's going to bow it. Unless he crosses his face, he might have to bow it a little bit. Okay, so we'll just assume for the diagram he's got a bow. Okay? So whether or not you use the tail motion, that's up to you. We would go with no mo, because otherwise on the tail, if that forces them to rotate, then we would whirly it and come back over here, because that would give us both numbers and angles advantage, right? So this is going to be no mo. Okay, so on the snap of the football, he's going to go in motion, right? So that's no mo. And we don't even have to call it. That's just part of it, okay? So now let's get into what happens with these two as it relates to the scheme. So letter A now, if we're going to pitch off number 2, these guys have communicated to the quarterback, you're pitching off a 2. Okay? So this is the A scheme, right? He would arc 3. He'd stock block the corner there. So then now the quarterback pitches off a 2. Right? See, so there's nothing new here. The B scheme, pitch off a 3. So now he's going to, what we say, block 2, arc 3, you block 2. He's still going to stalk the corner. So now the quarterback has his eyes on number 3. See, we get a 2-on-1. On number 2, we get a 2-on-1 on number 3. And that's all because we're blocking number 1. We're blocking up the crease as best we can, right? And the Mike linebacker has got a long way to run. So that's another factor. If you do have a very aggressive Mike, from the standpoint can really cover ground laterally, this may not be the best of schemes. You might want to what we call tug that, right? Tackle under the guard, fold block in order to get up to the mic. So that's an option if you needed to. If that mic's tough, then fold block down on the 3 tech with your tackle, guard around, pick up the mic, right? Got to always have some options. So that takes care of the B scheme. The C scheme now, we're going to pitch off of him. So now what that would mean, okay, he's still going to block 2, but now the wide receiver, we're crack number 3. So now we're going to pitch off the corner. So all it does is it incorporates what we've already empowered our wide receivers and slot backs to do, right? Stalk the NDB, crack the near safety, arc number 3, block number 2. Boom, done. Okay? So those are the options that we have on the perimeter. Again, pun intended, okay? It's I purposely wanted to show you with 2 to 3 because it's more than possible. And then obviously it's definitely possible to the 1 and 5. So it gives you versatility. If your defense is going to be manipulated by the motion, then use the whirly, give you a number, and possibly angles advantage coming back with the whirly motion. It's very, very versatile, and it's all based off of our inside veer. So as I said at the beginning, thank you for watching my channel. I do really appreciate it. Subscribers and non-subscribers alike, please, please, please reach out to me at CoachMJSullivan@gmail.com because I would love to talk football with you.